Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
I'm back from Peru. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California on Universal Broadcasting Network. And then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 1 on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA. AM 1050 and FM 106.5. And now on iHeartRadio everywhere, including New Mexico and points beyond. And I'm just so grateful that I have this platform to splatter you with more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words, no Kardashian talk, no Trump talk, no T words, nothing. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I am so grateful to be back. I had the most amazing time in Peru. I want to share some highlights and give some peace shout outs before we get to our fabulous guest who is coming to us today. But I'll keep her a secret for now, just so you can focus on what Jarvis is flashing up there. I had a transformation-filled trip. I got to teach balanced Tai Chi Gong on Machu Picchu with my Norwegian family, including Lucas, Chris, and Henrietta students, atop the Sun Gate with Martha, Ken, Nina, and Jenny. Peace out to other students that I met, Mikel, Marcelo, and Brian. Shout out to Nancy, our planetarium guide at the beautiful Casa Andina Hotel, and the manager at Costa del Sol. I got to make skipping ropes thanks to my friend Danny, because the Agape choir on tour in the Andes stopped at this wonderful little village, and we got to play with the children. We were covered by 3 Peruvian TV channels at a press conference because we got to open for the 18th International Festival of Choirs in the Basilica, the largest cathedral in Cusco, the first church recognized and brought the cross to in Latin America by the Vatican. And we got to sing there, and we were visited backstage and congratulated by Robert Kennedy Jr. and his wife Cheryl Hines. And I got a picture, got him to flash piece with me, and I am going to ask Cheryl to come on the show too. The choir, we rocked it under the direction of Ricky BB, who just had her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, choir boss. Peace in and peace out. Love her. If you want to see a really cute video of her opening her choir present of 5 C notes, it's really cute. It's on my Facebook page. So, hello. It was an amazing trip. Let's see, who did I forget here? Oh, also a peace out to Carmen, who has the best Peruvian fabulous boots. And then before I left, to Yeltsin from Verizon for excellent customer service, making sure I was connected while I was away. And that is my Peru update. Thank you so much for all of the love. I get yelled at because I was on my phone a lot taking pictures and videos and doing live video. But thank you for all the thank yous. And you can, go back and take a look at those. So, on to the show for today. So if it's not one thing, it's your mother. And they say there's 2 times in your life where there are no mother issues, and that's when you're born and when you die. And so motherhood is one of those fabulous topics that does affect your hope and happiness. And today we're actually going to focus on ourselves as mothers, because one of my sister friends from Agape just published a brand new book. Suzi Lula is a visionary leader who's transforming the way people think about motherhood. A much sought-after spiritual counselor, teacher, and inspirational speaker, she combines her innovative teaching over her 18 years in private practice with her training in spiritual psychology, showing you how to reconnect with your untapped spiritual power and to use it to both mother yourself and your children in a way that really empowers and enriches your life in connection with your children. Suzi's on a mission to see millions of mothers meditating on Mother's Day that's coming up, so we'll have her back, and every day. Suzi teaches every one of her clients to meditate, as it is the heart of self-care and the most potent technology for transforming ourselves, our relationships, and our children and the planet. Please welcome to the studio my friend and co-host from my 100th show, Miss Suzi Lula.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me. So grateful to be with you always.
It is so
my
fun.
My sister friend.
Isn't it fun?
Always.
Yes.
And welcome back from Peru.
Thank you,
Sounds like a wonderful trip.
It was beyond.
Yeah. And happy birthday to Ricky BB.
Yes.
Shout out
to
our girl.
Absolutely. And to our teacher and fabulous mentor, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, as well, who wrote the foreword to this.
And a very personal one, as a matter of fact. Speaking about his mom, Alice, and teacher to many of us.
Beautiful.
So, yes, it's quite a brilliant introduction.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So the Motherhood Evolution, how thriving mothers raise thriving children. So let's see. You're a mom. I'm a mom. You're how old's your son now?
14.
14. William is 14. Hi, William. And my girls are just turned 19. Chloe May, she's at Cornell.
Yeah.
Just texted me this morning. She went to Canada for the Canadian Thanksgiving at her relatives. And then Sarah Wei, Wei stands for Serenity in Mandarin, and she is a junior at Los Alamitos High School, and I want to just brag about her for 1 second.
You bet.
She started her own club in high school called the Soup Kitchen. And guess how many people came to the first meeting? Like 68.
Wow.
68 kids. So she's going to, bring Los Al High School kids to volunteer at soup kitchens all around the city.
Brilliant.
Hello,
Wow.
Thriving children.
Exactly.
Thriving children. Now, is it true that if you are a thriving mom, that you will automatically have thriving children?
Well, here's what I believe, right? If I'm thriving, when I'm thriving, life is going to send me whatever challenges, and my son is going to go through whatever our children are going to go through, whatever they are here to go through, right?
Yeah.
But what I know is that when I'm thriving, the way I move through challenges is differently. Therefore, the way that I model to him and the way that we model to our children moving through challenges is profound. And so, yes, I would say that our children will thrive, not because life won't happen, that they won't go through their own challenges, but the way that they will be able to weather their storms, so to speak, will be in an empowered way. So, yeah, I want to stand by that.
Yeah. And the reason why it's important to examine this concept is because I would say, I know I'm a little biased. My clients, life balance coaching clients, are many of them are full-time moms, and full-time working in careers, and they are not thriving. They're exhausted. They're completely wiped out. Nothing left for themselves. And I ask them what they want, and they just want rest. I mean, that's the one thing. And when do they get rest? They never get rest. Because they put themselves in that situation where it's never enough, because you're never going to be the perfect career woman balancing the home, because it's not possible. If you're a perfectionist, you're never enough.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm your client. I am exhausted. What do I do?
Yes. So first of all, thank you. This is exactly why I wrote this book, and this is my passion, and this is my mission, because I encountered the same thing. You know, I think as mothers, the one thing that we all agree on is that we want to be the best moms we can.
Yes.
We want to give our all to our children. We want them to thrive.
Right.
We want them to flourish.
Right.
And yet, what I encounter is exactly what you said. We have been indoctrinated by culture and our families and family of origins and our different cultures to put ourselves last on the list.
Yes.
That if you ask pretty much any mom, self-care is, and finish the sentence, they will say self-care is selfish. That is what our culture just teaches us. And so we end up not even able to give ourselves rest,
Yes.
which is exactly precisely the women that I work with. That's motherhood. When you think of motherhood, we're exhausted, overwhelmed, depleted, running a million different miles an hour, trying to get our kids to a million different activities so that they'll thrive and flourish.
Right.
And we're exhausted and burned out.
Yeah, it's mother with a hoodie to cover us.
Exactly. Not wanting to see anybody in the market, you know.
Right, exactly.
And so I have this saying that it's chapter 3 in my book, self-care is not for the faint of heart. Because I believe, because we're barraged in culture saying that the individuals who do the most get the most accolades.
Right.
So you're not going to be the mom on your block wanting to be the first person to go, I go to bed early. And I actually take a nap in the afternoon if I'm tired. I rest when I'm tired. I listen to my body when I'm tired. I actually feel great. It takes a certain amount of courage to be the first person to say, because we're all inundated with this belief that says, well, I'm a better mom if I'm doing more.
Right.
That the doing brings the value.
Yes. And sacrifice is something you're supposed to emulate.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And I used to get a lot of grief in my neighborhood because I would be dressed up. I wouldn't have the Uggs and the sweats and everything.
Yes.
And people would go, oh, you're trying to look better. I'm like, no, it just makes me feel better.
Exactly.
If I get dressed up.
Exactly.
So-
You're speaking my language. So first chapter in the book is called From Self-Sacrifice to Self-Care. And the actual definition of the word sacrifice means to make sacred. So when we learn to take care of ourselves and when we learn to put it higher on our list, the highest on our list, then what happens is that we do redefine this word sacrifice to make sacred, so that I am in a space and in an energetic to be present for my son in the way that I want to be for him.
Right.
And it creates a really intimate, connected, sacred relationship, which is what I think we all want. And then just quickly to your other point, I really feel at the end of my book, I talk about judgments that we moms make about other moms. And that too, if I'm dressed up, that somebody might think, oh, you're just trying to, outshine me. And, I think again, that comes from our own indoctrination as moms into this pool of lack. And so I really, the last chapter is called Globalhood of Thriving Moms, a global sisterhood, because I really want to send this message that me dressing up doesn't take anything away from you, but maybe it will inspire you. And if not, that's fine too. Right. I appreciate that.
That's a tough one because I don't know if it's inbred in us as women or, it's just, you have to really work hard not to be catty or not to be judgmental or not to be critical or not to have the whispering and, the talking. I had to deal with it last night. And it's like, what is it with us? What we have an easier time affirming our children, our insignificant others, our whatever it is. But, if you don't know a woman, the automatic thing is to put them down or to look for something and that's a horrible thing.
Yes. This is why this is why I'm so passionate about self-care, because when we put ourselves last on the list, you have to think about this. We're depriving ourselves, and sometimes not of the huge things, but, I know a lot of moms that consider, the crust of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches lunch, When you do these small deprivations, you need to recognize that you're living in a paradigm of lack. And when you're in a paradigm of lack, that is the paradigm of not enough, like you were saying, not good enough. And so what happens, that's a very uncomfortable feeling to take ownership of. So you're going to project that onto someone else. And we're not meaning to. Moms are certainly not meaning to do this. But it happens, oh, who does she think she is? Well, that's because we haven't given ourselves permission to shine, to be, valuable, to be valued, to know that we matter, that we're worthy, that we don't have to put ourselves last on the list. Like, I'm beginning to recognize this is an insult to my intelligence, right? To tell me as a woman that I should be putting myself last on a list and then to do it.
I know in Chinese culture, that's really part of the culture. You better walk behind. And I'm such a disappointment to the Chinese women.
I understand, but when I speak to, I have many Chinese clients that are moms. When you speak one-on-one, you know what they're all wanting, what we're all wanting: permission to thrive. They're wanting someone to take off those cultural shackles that they're wearing. And so I think, it's got to start somewhere. May it start with us.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering who my lovely guest today is, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa. And today we're talking about motherhood, and my sister friend, Suzi Lula, who was the co-host of my 100th celebration show. And she's here to talk about her newest book that she just published called The Motherhood Evolution. And we're talking about thriving as mothers and not being super exhausted and not making sacrifice a good word. So how would you say, so how do we get from wanting to be perfect moms to being just really good moms? I mean, I think for me, that's the one. No one can criticize me as a mom as the way that I do. So I know many moms. So it was so funny this morning. I'm driving Sarah to school, and I'm like, because we landed Thursday night, and then I'm practicing for a regatta for an all-women's sailboat race next weekend, and then Ricky's birthday thing, and then this is my 4th show in 2 days, and and I said to her driving in, I'm going, my schedule's like really busy, and she starts laughing, and she goes, "You think? You just realized that?" And so then I'm laughing with her, and then I immediately go, "Oh, am I not being there enough for her?
Yes.
I'm not home enough. Is she a latchkey kid? And no, I'm bringing snacks for tennis, and I am going to make her tournament after the show today. And have I asked her, you can tell me anything? There's something she's, so all
Absolutely.
of that critical, just robs me of my ability to be okay with full-time mom, and I'm 100% single mom now. So how do I relax?
Yes, brilliant question. So, and I think you speak for so many mothers, whether, I have many moms who are single moms working, 2 jobs to make ends meet. And the biggest, thing that I think we all face is not enough time. Where am I going to find the time to take care of myself, even if I want to take care of myself?
Right.
And then to what you're speaking of, I call it, mama guilt. And it's an epidemic. This is what I say. It's like it's at epidemic proportions, because there you are just driving your daughter to school, having this moment to connect with her, but in your mind, you are feeling guilty.
Yeah.
And this is a really deep issue, I believe. And I believe, okay, so let's see if I'm going to go deep.
Okay.
I'm going to just dive deep.
All right.
So we've all heard of original sin. right? We've all heard of it. We might not subscribe to it, but it's in the cultural
It's
ethers.
not shopaholic.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
So, when we buy into the fact that something might be wrong with us, and then certainly something might be wrong with taking care of ourselves, we've bought into a paradigm of guilt. So you're going to be guilt-ridden, guilt-laden. Like I said, it's an epidemic. I don't know a mom that I speak with that doesn't feel guilty, right? When we find the courage to put ourselves in a paradigm that says, my intention for self-care, my intention is an innocent one. My intention to be the best I can be, my intention to shine is an innocent one. Our being is a God-given guiltlessness.
That's the precious child of the universe.
Yes, you were not born guilty. You were born into a God-given guiltlessness. So if my intention for self-care is we need to redefine self-care. So my intention for self-care is not to take such good care of myself that I lie on the couch and
Eating
become a
bonbons
couch potato and eating
watch soap
bonbons
operas.
and having my kids, this is an insult to us as mothers, right?
Okay,
This is
right.
not our intention. Of course, our intention is to be there for our children. So my intention for self-care is innocent so that I can be the best I can be to therefore be better able to be present for our children, for my son. When I have the courage to stand behind this intention, I will never feel guilty again for taking care of myself, because I know that the better I take care of myself, the more able I'm going to be present for him. My son always teases me, and I think boys are great because they kind of just say they're not so complicated, He's 14 and he just says, "Mom, I really like it better when you smile." When you pick me up after school and you're happy, I really like that. It's just so simple. Giving ourselves permission to live this lifestyle is not so simple. Yeah. But the message is very simple. Our children want us to thrive. I guarantee you, of course, your girls want you to thrive. Yeah. And what more important message to give our girls, hello, can we just take a moment there, to give our girls that it's important to thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a good job. My older one definitely knows how to thrive.
Your girls are rocking. I know your girls. So
yeah. It is. If I can say I am doing enough. Like I tell my clients all the time, I don't do so well on myself. Have I done the best that I can with the time that I have and the resources I have as a psychologist, as what I'm doing on the air, as a mom.
Yes.
And if I can say yes 88% of the time, I'm good.
That's what I say about self-care. If I can say 80, I always say 85%. So we have to talk about the 3%.
Yeah.
But I always say
it's a Chinese thing.
If I'm taking, of course.
88. Eight's
of
magic.
course.
Yeah.
I might have to change my percent. I might have to up my percentage. So I say the same when I'm caring for myself 88%, 88%, it's already ingrained in me. 88% of the time, then it's going to get me through the other 15% of the time when it's not possible. Because to go back to your other question, how do we go from a life that is really, we are busy, we're all busy. And I always say, our to-do list is not going to get smaller.
Right.
So what I found is that when I come to my to-do list, a different person, when I come enriched, and you were talking about a good mom rather than a perfect mom. And I even say, let's just even toss out the term good mom, because I'd rather say I'm a fulfilled mom. I'm fulfilled. And when I'm fulfilled, I trust that then there's everything I need here to offer to my son.
Yeah.
So my work is to live on purpose, to be fulfilled, to live intentionally, to nourish my heart, to nourish my spirit. And when I do that 85% of the time, then I'm going to have that overflow, that reserve, that is allowing me to be the mom that I want to be for my son.
Right.
And more importantly, the mom that our children need us to be. Because I'm
Yeah.
sure you know this, having 2 girls,
Yeah.
each one of your girls have different needs
Oh, yeah.
from you,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day. So, okay, let's put the moose on the table on this one. This is less a big deal than it used to be, but so the whole full-time mom
Yes.
versus working mom.
Great question.
Okay, so working moms, I would say almost 100% of my clients, my executive coaching clients, well, they are 100% of them are working moms.
Yes.
And they carry that guilt
Yes.
of, and then the stay-at-home moms, it's interesting, are now feeling guilty
Yes.
that they are not out in the workforce, and the kind of the sheepish look when you ask someone what they do, and she go, "Oh, I'm a full-time mom," and they're almost like embarrassed about it. I'm like, do not be embarrassed. This is a beautiful thing. If you
Yes.
can swing it and be home full-time for the first 6 years, that's my formula. But
Yes.
if you can't, it's also a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
So being okay with where you are. What do you say to moms who have that conflict?
Yeah, a couple of things. First, I go back to this idea of our God-given innocence. And I know that any mom who is working has an innocent intention. She has an intention to either she needs to do it to, for financial reasons. So she's doing it for her family, or she's doing it for her destiny, for her purpose, because we all know, when we're not giving of our gifts, we're dying on the vine.
Yeah.
So no child needs a mom to be dying on the vine. So I believe that this is the power of us coming together collectively as mothers and as women, that when I can say to you and you can say to me and we can say to our clients, we support each other. There's I say that collaboration is the new competition, right? Competition is old school. Competition is last century. Competition is judgment and lack. And,
I'm in trouble.
And I'm
It's not whether you win or lose. It's whether I win or lose.
Exactly. But I'm saying that when we collectively can join together and say, I see a mother who is working, I see her intention to provide for her children, to be the best woman that she can be, to be the best mom that she can be, then I want to join with her. I don't want to tear her down. And when enough moms surround this mom and say, you should feel so proud of yourself, you should be acknowledging yourself, appreciating yourself, that you get up and do something in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Then this is going to alleviate the guilt, because the guilt, what purpose is this guilt serving us?
Well, I think that it has to start with yourself.
Exactly correct.
Because people are going to tear you down no matter what.
Yeah.
That's just part of life, and it helps you grow and expand. Kind of like that piece of sand in the oyster shell.
Yes.
It does help you develop a pearl, even though it's irritating at the time. But I know that the number one person that has to say it's okay for what I'm doing
Yes.
is me.
Yes.
And you for you
Yes.
as well.
Yes. And this is why I offer, when you see your intention as innocent, innocent and guilt cannot coexist. They're like
Right.
oil and water, right? You can't, when you set an intention and make a commitment to see your intention as innocent, you can't feel innocent and guilt at the same time. So if you're feeling guilt, you have to then rewind and ask, is my intention innocent? If it is, there's no need for this guilt right now.
Yeah. Now what about things that drive moms crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we are trying to raise thriving children,
Yes.
what is the role of discipline? Is there a need for discipline, or is there a need for guidance, or is there
Great question.
some,
right?
Yeah.
This is what everyone
So-
feels, that if we get on board with this way of thinking, that discipline goes out the window.
Right.
Everyone thinks it's an either or conversation.
Right.
So we know that healthy boundaries are essential for life, right?
Yeah.
So we know that when I'm thriving, the difference is, it's not that I don't have boundaries. It's not that I don't discipline my son. the place inside that I come to the relationship is different. So I'm not frustrated. I'm not stressed. I'm not trying to create a boundary, but from an angry, irritated, frustrated place.
And
I'm
when you're
still going to
tired.
create,
Yeah.
I'm still going to create a boundary, but the place I'm going to do it from inside of myself is going to be healthy, effective, connected, certain of myself, sure of myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a completely same boundary, two different individuals trying to create it.
So what is it with kids and not putting their stuff away where, it's not that big of a deal just to two steps over? What is that with children? I don't know one mom who has children who aren't messy. I mean, what is that? Well, there's a few that have like OCD kids who have perfect rooms. But what is that?
Yeah,
They've had done studies on that. Is there a part in the brain in a child that it's related to the man? I know that more men have that as well.
Yeah, this is so funny. You're getting close to home because this is my son, and because I have
It's
a boy.
okay.
Right?
I have two girls. Same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, less in the younger one, more in the older.
Yeah. Well, in all seriousness, I want to say that, again, I got to go back to the self-care idea, because what I know is that the stuff on the floor isn't going to change necessarily, but I can change my relationship to both my son and the stuff on the floor.
Okay.
So when I'm not taking care of myself, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I walk into the room, I roll my eyes, I go, I can't believe it. It looks like a pigsty in here. Was there a hurricane? I thought the hurricane was on the East Coast. Apparently it was on the West Coast. This is when I walk in and I'm tired and I'm depleted and I haven't taken care of myself. And then my son feels shamed as opposed to I've taken care of myself. I came here this morning. I squeezed in going to the gym. I wanted to go to my yoga class, but I squeezed in going to the gym. I feel great now. When I go to pick up my son, if I walk into his room and I'm, depending on where I feel inside of myself, I can go, you know what, honey, can we talk about this? Because when I am centered, when I am calm, when I am in my power, so to speak, and I am connected to something greater and larger than myself, then I can actually connect with him about his room. And when I do, what I find, and I don't know if you find this with your girls, but what I find is that he's actually interested in connecting with me. He actually knows that he didn't put his stuff away, and he actually knows that it would be more assistful to him in his life. But depending on how I come to him, we have had some very rich conversations about his messy room, and about, oh my God, I don't have any, clean socks. Well, that's because they're all behind your chest of drawers, But depending on how I come to that conversation, it can actually bring you closer to your kids. I stand by that.
We're going to come back to that because I've got a whole bunch of moves on the table on that, but we need to take a commercial break to thank the sponsors who make this show possible. So we'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
No way! I'm so cool. I'm so hot. I'm so hungry. I'm so full.
Did that complaining sound familiar to you? Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for hope and happiness 88% of the time. And they also call me the Asian Oprah. Well, I have a perfect app for you if you want to lose negative weight and stop complaining. Yes, the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa app is now available. Every day you'll get a balanced tip that keeps you from complaining, as well as some sound effects. If you do complain and you press a button, it will give you a sound to keep you from complaining. And if you make it the entire day without complaining, you'll get a nice warm afterwards. And there's a YouTube link also to help you not complain. And then at the end of the 21 days, because it takes 21 days to create a good habit, you'll get an overall score as well as a way to post your triumph with your friends and family on Facebook. So don't complain, have fun, and remember it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Peace in, peace out.
And we are are back. You are tuned into Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon. Universal Broadcasting Network out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California. And every Thursdays at 7 and Saturdays at 1 p.m. PST. My syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. And if you missed it, I actually did talk about politics yesterday on Mark Westwood, the station manager's show. So if you go into the archives, you can hear my 15-minute spiel on the T word and what I thought of the last debate. So I don't do it on my show, but I can do it on somebody else's show. So please tune in. And if you just joined us today, we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Suzi Lula, and she is a sister friend of mine from Agape, who just came out with a fabulous book. And we're talking about thriving moms with self-care, not sacrifice, and thriving children. And we were just talking about this thing called messy rooms and not picking up, and you were saying that you have a better relationship with your child now that you have adopted this new thriving methodology.
Absolutely, unequivocally. You know, I used to, as I was saying before, I used to walk into his room and it really would upset me, you know, to see the clutter and the, socks on the floor. And my relationship with him has absolutely deepened. I'm closer. We're more connected because it's not necessarily that the room changes. It does go through phases, but it's not necessarily whether the room changes or not. It's the way I enter the room. It's the way I enter the relationship. And the way I enter the relationship is different now than it used to be. I didn't like how I entered the relationship when I was tired, depleted, frustrated, angry. I would say things, I've asked you 1,000 times, clean up this room. The things that we've all heard come out of our mouth, the thing that we've all said would never come out of our mouth.
Right.
And I might say the same thing to your point about boundaries. It's important to have boundaries. It's important. He's part of our family. It's important for him to care for part of our home, right? So I'm going to have boundaries. But what I'm saying is that my boundaries are going to be more effective, and our connection is going to be more, he's going to respect me when I come to him deserving of his respect in the way I speak to him.
Okay. So an alternative to what I usually say, which is, and I can be in the best mood. So this is where I'm falling down, because I can be in a real, come back from meditation. I'm all nice and calm and balanced and centered. And I walk in the house and the trash isn't taken out and there's bras all over the counter and dirty underwear and shoes all over the place. And I just go, I lost all of the good feeling that I had. And I go, okay, I don't ask you for much. In fact, what are the two things that I ask you for? Okay, Mom, you're right. All you ask us for is a clean house and good grades. That's all you ask us for. And I go, is it that difficult? I buy this for you. I get this. I do this. I do this. And this is what I get. Now, even when I'm in a good place, that's in the back. And I try to. Okay,
got it. Okay, great question. So part of the book, what I talk about is, first of all, redefining self-care. What is self-care? Yeah. So I define self-care not as massages and mani-pedis, darn it, and glass of wine at 5 p.m. I define self-care as nourishing ourselves on our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. So there's 4 levels of consciousness, and we're nurturing ourselves on these levels. So what you're speaking to is what I call emotional self-care.
Okay.
So how I would work with you is to ask you at some other time when you're not walking into the room, right?
Okay.
To just take a moment. Let's do it here. So just take a moment, gently close your eyes, and ask yourself, what is it? What's the emotional trigger that comes up inside of you when you walk in and they haven't done what you've asked them? What is it what's the emotion? What is the feeling that you feel?
Unappreciated.
Yes.
unattended to, unimportant, taken for granted. Do I have to say more?
Beautiful, beautiful, right? Okay, so I'm certain that every mom can relate to this. I certainly could. So it's just the two of us,
All right,
right?
right.
Unappreciated, unacknowledged, taken for granted. Let's just start there. Unappreciated, unacknowledged, taken for granted. So we know, unfortunately, so this work is fortunately and unfortunately. So now you have the pearl with this or the sand, the irritant, and you're feeling unappreciated.
Yeah.
So the first bit of work with emotional self-care is that then your first assignment is you need to start appreciating yourself more, right? Because there's something inside of you that is projecting, right? That, and this is for, I'm not saying you as in Dr. Marissa, I'm saying all of us, or I'll speak for myself.
Okay.
When I feel unappreciated, it means that there's an unmet need inside of me. There's an unmet need. There's a need for appreciation. We all have that need to know that we're appreciated, valued, that we matter. So if we were working together, the first assignment I would do, and we'll just, laser it for here, but I'd spend a lot of time on this work around you and feeling appreciated and how emotionally you can reconnect with some places, probably guaranteed, I'll speak for myself, there were probably places in my childhood and in my past where I didn't feel appreciated. So I would take you, I call it going to the mountaintop. And I believe that there's messages for us in those emotions.
Yeah.
So there's a message for you that has nothing to do with your children yet. That there's a message for you around appreciation and your past.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I'd spent the 88% of the work.
Okay.
88% of the work would be there. But yet, there's this other part that is reality, and that's our homes and walking into your home.
Right.
What I guarantee you is that when you find that unmet need inside of you and you nourish it and you take care of it, you will then be able to come into your home. And I would suggest not trying to, I would, so there's many things here. When I walk in and I feel that, I take a vow of silence, as Dr. Shefali Sabari calls it, a vow of silence. I wouldn't say anything to your girls in that moment, right? I would go to my own chair in my own room and go, I'm feeling so unappreciated right now. I'm feeling so unacknowledged. Because even in that little 5 seconds that you closed your eyes, that gave you very valuable information, right? Now you go and work with that information. You nourish the place inside of yourself that's calling out for to have a need met. And then you go back once you're neutral and once you've gotten that gem, that message, then you go back to your girls and you say, I really want to talk about this. And you let them know, you probably have already, you feel unappreciated, you feel unacknowledged, but you talk to them and ask them, what is it that has you guys, not think about this? I get it's not high on your radar, it's not high on your list because I know you're great girls and I know your girls, they're great girls. So it's not, again, the intention is innocent. They're not intending to unappreciate you, right?
Even though it looks like that way.
Even though it looks like that, but that's not their motive. Their motive is they're 16, she's in high school, she's just on to the next, text.
Yeah, but this has been since
I understand.
2 years old.
I understand. I know, but that's something we could talk about, right? It's something that we moms do, right? But in any case, we'll go to this example.
All right.
So when you share with your girls, how in a deeper way, and ask them questions, ask them what's going on for them. What I guarantee you is you're going to get into a deeper conversation than the one you had when you entered the house. Girls, I don't ask you for so much. I can say the same to my son and he'll go, I know, I'm sorry. And then the conversation is just at this surface level. And you don't really have the connection and the intimacy that it's like a Groundhog's Day. It's going to come back again.
Right.
So I'm talking about diving deeper, and that's why, it takes more energy really to go to those depths.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one's out already, so I don't have to do and the second one's less of a problem. But I do get that. It's that I think for many of us, getting validated by our children
Sure.
replaces the self-validation that is what we really are needing
Sure.
or requiring, just like the validation at work or the validation by our significant or insignificant others.
Exactly.
It all comes to,
Yes.
how do we see ourselves? I'll
Yes.
never forget that one time when, when it was nearing the end of my marriage, and I can remember being so angry and saying, why don't you listen to me? And why don't you attend to me? And why don't you, appreciate me? And why don't you look at me? And I remember stomping up the stairs and diving under the covers. And this voice literally said, do you listen to yourself?
Yes.
Do you value your
Yes.
own opinion?
Yes.
Do you? And it was like, just blew me wide open. And I
Yes.
realized that I could spend the rest of my life trying to get milk from a tractor,
Yes.
from my husband,
Yeah.
trying to get that validation from
Yeah.
him and then my children. Or could I finally look myself in the mirror and say,
Yeah.
do you have something important to say?
Yeah.
And the answer was yes, but I had to get rid of that original sin.
Exactly.
For sure.
And I so appreciate what you're saying. Another chapter in the book is called The Martyred Mother. And I think that, we are just, again, indoctrinated to martyr ourselves. So we probably, and I'll speak for myself again, I don't know about you. You said that been going on since your girls were little. But I know for myself, if I had asked myself to close my eyes just now, perhaps what I would have been coming up with were the ways that I martyred myself and didn't ask for the boundary that I wanted to have in my home.
Right.
And I probably had let it go longer because
Right.
I didn't give myself permission not to martyr myself all the times that I probably did clean up after him and didn't
Right,
have him
right,
have
right.
his own consequence. And
Right, right.
it's just easier to pick up the socks
Exactly.
and put them in the laundry myself.
Exactly. And that's not
So
the
that-
solution.
And that's not the solution. So,
Okay.
right? So
And
we're
Haagen-Dazs going in
Exactly
is not the
correct.
solution. Okay.
exactly correct. But to give ourselves permission that I don't need to martyr myself
Yeah.
in my motherhood role.
Yeah.
This is huge for mothers.
yeah,
This would
yeah.
free mothers, if we just got that one thing,
Right. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, unfortunately, we're almost out of time,
my
but
gosh.
please do get this book. You can get it on Amazon, correct?
my website, yes.
Website, SuziLula.com.
Yes. When you go either place, go back to my website and put in the code because you'll get some free gifts.
Oh,
Yeah,
so cool.
a free guided meditation called Permission to Thrive, and some free webinars and courses.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lots of Asian Oprah giveaways. So we've got one book, right, for sure. And so the first person to go to my website, drmarissa.tv, and put in motherhood as the subject line, will get Suzi Lula's new book.
Beautiful.
And then we have a second Asian Oprah giveaway, actually second, third, and fourth. I have 3 beautiful CDs. This is a little known fact, and not just an author, not only an award-winning practitioner and coach. She's also formerly known as Tickle the Keyboards and a fabulous pianist. So we have 3. So 3 winners, 1 Facebook, 1 LinkedIn, and 1 website. Anybody wanting the beautiful sounds of Suzi Lula. So we have 4 Asian Oprah giveaways today, thanks to Suzi. So please do that. Any, as per usual, what's your last, who would you like to say peace in, peace out, and gratitude and love to on the air?
Peace in, peace out. Got to go to Michael Bernard Beckwith, our, colleague, friend, mentor, teacher. He was just on Oprah Super Soul Sunday. I've watched it 3 times already. I'm practicing, such great wisdom in that show.
Yes,
So
and he'll
got
be
a
on
shout out to our
next
brother.
week on my show with Bob Proctor. So
Beautiful.
Keep tuned on that one. And anybody else you want to say, like Jamie and William?
I was going to say, took the words out of my mouth. Got to go for my boys. My husband, Jamie, also great inspirational singer-songwriter. He's on tour in the Midwest right now, so I'm a single mama. And, of course, William. my boy, the reason I wrote the book,
Yay.
to become the mom he needs me to be.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much again for coming on.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thank
Love
you.
your
I
work.
adore you. Thank you.
Shishya.
Love your work too.
Suzi Lula. And it's that time of the show, the end, called the Balance Bar, where I invite you to come balance with me. Of course, the Balance Bar for today's 21-day fast from complaining, round 63, tip for day 11. Complaining and its cousin worrying are not paying jobs. And when we do, it takes up space in our heads, in our hearts, and in our actions. We are in worst case scenario, which is just as likely as best case scenario. So why not go to the latter? Because when we are in the worst case scenario, it is a non-paying full-time job and robs up us of the very moment when we could be fully present, hugging our child, talking to them about why they leave their clothes on the floor, and enjoying the sunset. So let your complaining and worrying go, because you never get that time back. And that's from my 52 card Pick Me Up Stacking the Deck for Life Balance, which goes along with the app on this beautiful fast and life habit that I'm encouraging you to be on. So please do register at the number 4balance.org. And you heard the promo. Well, actually, the app was created by my teenagers, their friends, and the promo was by my great niece. So all proceeds to any of my Balance products goes to my peace work around the world. And as you saw at the beginning, this year was Peru. Next week, my guest will be another amazing panel show for my Wisdom series with the Dean of Prosperity and Abundance Teachings, Bob Proctor, and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, Dean of New Thought Ancient Wisdom. I am so blessed to have been invited to Bob's tribute at Carnegie Hall next month, and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith will be on the Wisdom Council there. So I'll be giving away free premiere tickets worth over $500 on the show next week. So please do tune in and keep it here to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Before the dawn, for I am weak and He is strong. He lifts me up so I can see how dark